Hello, everyone. Today I just have a general message about something I've been pondering, basically about the ego and fear. And if you've read enough books, if you've seen enough spiritual materials, you'll know that the ego is designed to protect us in this 3D world. And obviously, the ego has evolved from the times in which we had to worry about predators and basic things like food and shelter and all that. So I've had this idea about the modern ego and the structure of the modern ego. And essentially, hypersensitive people tend to suffer a lot from anxiety and in some cases depression. And I think it's because if we experience like significant trauma or abuse or just any kind of like instability at a young age, it triggers that like deep ancient DNA of fear and survival. And many of us have to work decades to get out of survival mode and stop perceiving dangers in every corner. And the interesting thing about this, and I was talking with my dad about it, is that our ideas of what danger is and the things that we kind of latch on to, like depending on, I guess, the maturity of the person, the priorities of the person, what our ego is afraid of is like very benign in the grand scheme of things. Like, why are we concerned about things like our image, how fast we get promoted at a job, what the neighbors think of us, what our car says about us, and this fear of like losing status or not looking good enough in the eyes of others. It's created this like modern perception or this modern ego that like perceives fear and danger from relatively benign things. And the thing that my dad said is like basically like life's too easy for us because we're not fighting for survival all the time, but we still have this ingrained in our DNA and our souls, this like need to be aware of danger, right, to survive. But the things that we're so afraid of are just not really worth being afraid of. So I pulled some cards on this because I wasn't sure where this message was going to go. And then this morning I did forest bathing and I got my own personal messages semi-related to this, about basically your place in the world and things like that. And I think I will get into that, but not at this second. So I used the Osho Zen Tarot, and I had to spend some time reading because I got a mini version. Of course, I get a mini version, right? Reading this book because I've never read it, and I've never like really kind of looked into the meanings, and I'm glad I took that time to pull the cards and look today. So this first card was existence. This was the first card that came out, and essentially this is talking about what we're living for in this world. Let me see if something really stuck out to me. Like everything I read in these cards, there was something that really really stood out to me. The stars, the rocks, the trees, the flowers, fish, and birds, all are our brothers and sisters in this dance of life. We human beings tend to forget this as we pursue our own private agendas and believe we must fight to get what we need. So, we're not even fighting to get what we need. Like, I wouldn't say that a lot of these things the modern ego fights for are things we need. We don't need like fancy cars and status like that. So it's like we're reaching this peak of like just wasting energy on things that don't really matter. And then this card came out, the Rebel. So this is all about basically discarding the need to bend to the society. It's like not just really being enlightened and being above those kind of modern ego desires, because I feel like we have just reached peak on how much we can invest and place importance on very frivolous material things over like ultra wealth and the social media. It's like, I don't know, probably many people are starting to feel this way. We evolved so quickly in that realm. It's just really gotten so easy to see how like pointless it is. And the next two cards were Source and Maturity. So the Source card, I love that it came out, because I feel like, this is the Source is the well of inspiration, the actual thing that we need to be tapping into. And it's like what the modern ego chases is like completely devoid of any substance. And at some point, we will realize this. And I'll come back to this because there was something really good in here in these other cards, because the next cards were No Thingness and New Vision. So New Vision, I get this idea, like these are two sides of things. Source is everything, where, no thingness is the void. Both are important though. Both are important. And it's like routinely with this New Vision card, this is about continually being reborn and like cleaning or like clearing yourself of certain things. So what it comes to me to say is that periodically we have to dip into this void, this no thingness, and then tap back into Source. It's like we have to keep being reborn. We have to follow natural cycles of life. And that's what this card says, and also this card, Experiencing. So what sticks out to me, this Maturity card talks about the spring of life. And this here is just about recognizing the experiences and how things move. And those are fall leaves. So when I was living in Japan, one thing I came to really love is, Hanami and Koyo. Hanami is, spring cherry blossom viewing, just flower viewing in general. And Koyo is like enjoying the fall colors. Like there's so much emphasis and importance put and enjoying the change of the season, like the fleeting beauty, because it doesn't last that long. And yeah, we do that to some extent in the US, but we don't place such a deeper meaning and importance in how you appreciate the cycles of life, how the rebirth is such a beautiful stage to be in. And it's fleeting because it's like a new start and a new opportunity to create something new. And then the Completion card came out. And this was really about, I feel like this was really about, I can't remember. Let me see what if the book said anything that stood out to me. But what I see though is kind of like completion is not the goal. Completion is not the goal. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, that's right. It's one of the major arcana. Yeah. Completion is not the goal though, is what kept coming to me. Like, you're not complete until you return to Source for good. But it doesn't mean you can't touch Source during your cycles. You're going to be in this continuous cycle until you finally transition. And it's not that you need to resent these cycles. Let's see. Inner perception. Oh, so this is just about understanding, really being conscious of your cycles. And that's like really experiencing and understanding and seeing the cycles. And then this We Are the World. So cute. So basically, completion is not the goal. This understanding the cycles of life and dipping into the void, cleansing yourself, touching source. It's like this cycle that we should be doing, you know, at least once a year, if not multiple times a year. Like, be like the changing of the seasons, essentially, because it's hard to, we carry, you know, all this ego burden with us. We carry all this trauma burden with us. Like, we just have to routinely reset ourselves of that. And eclipse season is coming up, and that will be a good time to set that intention too. And actually, I did use like eclipse season of 2 years ago to do that sort of thing. The void and source. They're both necessary in the cycle, but you have to come out. When you come out in this way, once you have touched source, you need to appreciate the first bloom of what that energy gives you in the moment. And don't regret that, you know, the blossoms turn into leaves. The fall leaves are beautiful and they fall. You don't regret that. You just enjoy it in the moment. Stop wanting to be done. Stop wanting everything to be eternal. We go in cycles for a reason. If we did not, we'd be stuck with this crap forever. And the modern ego tells us to just store all these failures, these pains, and these traumas, like store them within us, store them in the body, store them in the soul, store them in the mind. We don't need to do that. We need to, maybe not all of those blossoms blossomed, maybe not all, some of those leaves are spotted and diseased, but they will still be reborn next year. You know, it doesn't mean the whole tree is bad. You know, maybe there was a frost and it killed some of the blossoms, which happens sometimes. It's fine. There's always going to be another spring. And if there's not, I'm pretty sure not every single spring was like that, and not every single fall was like that. So I think the overall point of this is to appreciate, oh, look at this. I split the deck for this in soul retrieval. So every time you touch source, you have an opportunity to get part of yourself back and get closer to this rebel energy, transcending the desires of your ego, particularly the modern ego. Why is the modern ego so much more potent? Because of the media and the people surrounding us that reinforce this consumerism, materialism. I answered my own question. Yeah. So I hope that message made sense. So the point is, see your life and see the things you go through. Live your life in cycles and seasons. Stop looking for the end, you know. Stop looking for the end. Not every season's going to be great, but definitely not every season's going to be bad. You know, you have to learn to appreciate when you have renewed yourself and actively and consciously go in to renew yourself. Dip into this void, touch source, come back out, be reborn. And the more you do this, it's like the less you will carry with you unnecessarily. The more you'll be able to enjoy the new cycles in your life. Things don't have to be mundane. You're not going, the only end goal is death, right? It's the only completion really is death. Just because one season didn't go well, or maybe a lot of your seasons haven't gone well, doesn't mean you shouldn't still try to experience new ones, though. That just hit me. Anyway, hopefully that message helps somebody. Thank you.